Hey, all right. So there's another shot I just started working on tonight. We filmed it a couple nights ago, and that's this one where Caitlin stumbles out of a bathroom onto a train, and things start to get really weird. And so I wanted to just really quickly walk through how I'm going to be approaching this shot. So the first thing I did, so I should be tracking this in Blender just because a bunch of people are into Blender and I want to show. Look, it's actually not all that hard to do a 3D track in Blender, but I did it in After Effects because you don't have to babysit it at all. And I didn't really. That's not true because I did go through and first I had to rotoscope out everything that I thought could possibly be moving in the shot. Like she slams it, we wrapped the Coke machine over here in green screen, which worked really well to as an interactive thing. This is not a particularly well lit green screen. I am having some trouble keying down here. But it should. I think I can design the set to be really dark right there, anyways, so it hides any artifacts. So that should work out all right. But yeah, turn all of that off in a subcomp, and then in the overall in a higher level comp, I just use the 3D camera tracker, and it can extract a lot from a little, and it's actually, even if it did get some points on her, it's usually pretty good at knowing if it needs to ignore them. But yeah, so I tracked that. I got a pixel error of what was it? Like 2.4, which frankly isn't great. But I also knew there wasn't going to be all that much direct interaction between a lot of stuff. So it's probably, and there's a lot of like shake and stuff. It's a crazy scene where she's kind of losing her mind a little bit, and so a little bit of pixel wiggle, maybe that's okay. So yeah, we've got this, and then I go through and I key it instead after basically reusing this roto to I only want to use this first one, and the second one is none. So I export a pre-keyed version, which is this, and this isn't really cleaned up yet. I'm using this for now just kind of because it's quick, and once I know exactly where the problem areas are, then I'll spend some time trying to address that. But yeah, then it was into Blender where, oh, all right, well here's kind of where I'm at, at the end of the night. It's so fun once you get to the stage where you get to start blocking all of this stuff in. That is just the funnest thing. And looks like some of the video fell back out of RAM, so it's playing slowly. But you can see here we've separated the real camera from, or the digital camera from. Oh no, this is still all real motion. So yeah, this is pulling back about as far as I had room for. And I just wanted to quickly go through a few ways that we did this. So the first thing you'll see is that she is actually here in 3D space. She's not just an overlay on front of the camera. And this is going to look bad from the top view as she kind of runs through. It's like, whoa! And I probably will, once I see how her shadow interacts with stuff, clean some things up. It's probably really easy. I have her unselectable right now, so I don't always select her when I'm trying to select something in the background. But yeah, if you look right here, like, there's some easy ways we could clean that up, and there's a reason that I did it like that, which I'll show you in a second here. I'm going to delete this. So there's a whole video I want to make about how it's actually hard to put characters in the scene, because for example in let's see, the Omega shot here, 4K Caitlin Alpha. Yeah, let's see how this works. So as she's walking, you can see she's about half the screen height tall here, and but as we pull back, you can see she becomes very small. So if I just put her as a green screen element, on a layer in the scene, she's going to be very, very tiny, and so you have to come up with a way to normalize that scale. And this is not the best way to demo it, but I think it's like a trigonometry thing basically. If you I'll just show you a way to do that right now. So F3, images as planes. I'm going down to that one. I'm going to make it emit of 1 straight. Maybe should be pre-multiplied. Let's find out. And there we are, right there. I'm going to make sure we're actually using the right Stumbles. Alright, so I think it's supposed to start on frame 0, actually. And auto refresh. Yeah. So that should work okay. But how do we attach it to the camera? So if you don't already, you should turn on the copy attributes menu, because it gives you a bunch of cool copy options. So I'm going to select this, then I'm going to select this camera, and I'm going to go Control C, copy location, Control C, can copy rotation, and now it's exactly in that same place as the camera. And I'm going to hit Control P now, parent it to the camera, so now it's exactly right there. So if you just put it, let's say we did have a version out here, and we try to scale her to be, the right size. As she runs in the distance, we'd have to keep scaling her up and position all of that stuff, and try to eyeball her position and everything. That can be a pain in the butt. And I realized, oh, if I have her, when she's far away, if I scale it up so that she's the right size, she fills the entire frame, that should ideally cancel that out. But still, it's kind of hard to know where that should be and all of that. But then I realized I was trying to figure out maybe there's an equation or something I could run and use drivers to, the position away, good control the scale so it don't always work right. Realized I was dumb. As long as the origin is at the camera's exact position, and let's see, I'm just gonna move the mesh here until it lines up with the field of view. If I scale it down, it's now exactly scaling along the camera's field of view. Look at that! Ah! That's so exciting! So from here, it doesn't look like anything's changing, except you can see she is moving through the, 3D space here. This will be more evident if is it Shift F5? Yeah. If I scale here, you can see, oh, out of camera view. Doesn't look like she's moving there, but she is in 3D space over here, and this is very, very useful. And so the way you actually normalize this is you want it's to go until her foot lines up with the ground. So we're getting there, and in this way, this will normalize her scale, and it will actually always place her where she needs to be in depth, which is just such a cool thing, because that means you can set up reflections, you can have shadows, she's actually casting shadows. It means you can render out, a mist pass, which is just incredibly cool. In fact, let's see if I've still got, did I just call it comp? I probably did, because I'm a nasty man. I just want to show you the, yeah, here we go. So this is the other one I did of that, that big scene. So she's actually in there, and I've got a mist pass with her in it, and so all the black levels and everything are all taken care of, and that's just really fun. I'd never done that before, because I was thought, oh, you have to tweak all the black levels and things in post after you render the scene. I can just go into the shader editor here and tweak her so she matches whatever color space is going on in Blender. You're darker now, you're brighter now. I can just do that here, and that's so cool. So yeah, what you want to do is you want to turn on auto keyframing, and we're just going to scale her up until that toe hits. This is the hard part, is she is not actually in one exact place in depth. She has in Z space, I guess you can call it. She has different depths where her foot's here and her foot's there, and you have to pick one. And you don't want to split the difference, because then, she's missing part of her foot. So I always just pick as close to, the near part of her foot as I can. So I've got that. I've got the auto keyframing on going to here. And, obviously, once you do this, you're going to want to go through and this is the stairs. So this is where it got particularly funky. And this is why you saw some crazy accelerations. But again, from the camera view, you can't really tell. So unless if we can see that her shadow's going nuts, or a reflection or in a reflection or something, revealing that she's actually going a little wild in Z space, I'm not gonna worry about it too much. Now we can't see her feet, but we can still eyeball pretty good. Like, I want her. She comes out of this door right here that we're looking through, and so I'm just gonna keep her more or less in that zone. Okay, and then for the ending, the camera, you know, is going to be pulling back, and I want to fake a camera movement. Okay, so pretend I've done all of that. You're left with something kind of like this. Old cameras. I think this is... Yeah, you're left with something like this, and this is where the camera pulls back. The thing is, though, we have normalized her. By parenting her to the camera motion, it's actually canceling out her camera movement. So she's now just stationary in the scene while the camera's doing all of the original shake, which is wild. Because, like, look at that. She's just locked. Whereas if you look in the footage, which is here, she is definitely not locked. She's moving all over in the frame. See that? So this is huge to me. And that also means that now we can add another camera doing whatever we want. Like, we can just be like, all right, here's a camera here, and add our own motion. So there are, you know, things to think about, like the fact that she is 2D. You know, the further we get from the point of view of the original camera, the worse it's gonna look. And so I actually don't want to be doing this, although we can. We can just like, look at that. We've got our whole new kind of weird camera move, because I'm not really at all close to the original camera. So I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to duplicate this camera, which is the original camera, and I'm going to just, yeah, start animating that duplicate, which I've already done right here. But I'm going to delete that, and I'll just show you. So duplicating this, I'm going to call this the, actually I'm not going to delete that other one, just in case I accidentally save this file. I'm going to move this to old cameras, turn off old cameras, no. Sorry about this, I didn't really plan this out all that well. So this is our new and improved camera right here, and I'm just going to add that to a new layer. New and improved. If you haven't been tracking the last minute, I apologize. Oh, video layers. So, new and improved camera. Right now, this is exactly what the original camera saw. But if we want, like right here, the beginning, I want it to feel a little like chaotic. She's having kind of like a breakdown here. So I'm actually going to just zoom in. Yeah. And then when we that's maybe a bit much, but when we emerge into the train car, I'm going to animate the focal length, so we start getting this kind of vertigo feeling. Like this, because as long as our feet are in there, we can go as wide as we want. And so, yeah. And then when we start to pull back, I can add in a keyframe here and just animate it whipping back into the distance. And it's going to be some weird surreal stuff. And because we did zoom in, I'm gonna just tweak some of this camera rotation here. This is like my new favorite way to do. Well, honestly, I mean, my favorite ways would just to actually be in a crazy, you know, Cybertrain. It's like, oh, this is great. We're just getting it all in camera. But yeah, man, this is pretty cool. Oh, and so apologies for jumping all over the place. That's that. I'm just going to show you really quickly how to set up a scene like this using the data from After Effects. If anybody's curious about that. So yeah. Don't save. Yep. So this is going to be using an add-on called AE2Blend, and that's just, I think it's $10 or something. It's paid for itself many times for me. Yeah, AE2Blend, and to use it, let's see. I'm gonna go back to Stumbles on Train. Here's my camera right here, which I got. Once you get the 3D track, you know, you create it gives you an option to create a camera. I've already done that, so that's gone. It also gives you all these little points here, and I'm going to actually turn off key light and turn off these masks so that we can see what's happening. Yeah. So now you can see kind of like, all right, here's this one's on the floor. I'm going to create a null, and this one's on the floor, and so you can kind of create a very basic point cloud just from that stuff. And that gives you, every time you do this, it creates a new null down here, and here's your camera. So I'm going to open it up, select the position and orientation at the same time, copy that, go into Blender and just go create camera, and there it is right there, and it's already doing it. That's the motion from After Effects. It doesn't know what scale we're at, which is what we can play with later, but yeah, so we open all these guys, and position, paste empty, position. There might be an easier way to do this, but honestly, this, takes 45 seconds, so. Quality television. Missed one. And I'm not gonna stress too much about a lot of this stuff, but okay, so there we go. And I'm gonna load in. I exported a low res version. This is 4K footage, which is great because my final output export is 1080, which means I've actually got a lot of extra room here for doing those push-ins and stuff I was talking about. So I exported a half-res version of that, and I'm going to load that in right now as the background image. And that is right there. Low-res stumbles, and match the number of frames, and I think it starts on frame 0. And you hit play, and it's not going to totally line up. And you're going to be like, why doesn't it line up? Well, that's because, well, it could be for a couple different reasons. First, 23.9798 is what you want, and I maybe should have done that before I pasted the camera. In fact, it's easy enough to change it. Let's just recopy that camera and see if that... Okay, now we go to the camera view. Ah! Okay, there's the camera. Cool. Reload in our image here, video file, match them. Okay, and this seems to be lining up a little bit better here, but it doesn't line up perfectly, and that's because it doesn't paste over the field of view, and so, or the focal length, and so we're just going to tweak this until it lines up with our empties, and you can see, it's always going to be some point of contrast. Something, you can see like here, it's these legs where they intersect the green screen, and so I'm going to change the field of view until it's, until it basically lines up like that, and that means maybe a little bit. Yeah, so now the camera is synced to the motion, which is just the coolest thing ever. But also it doesn't exactly know what the orientation is, and so like these dots don't really mean all that much right now. And so what I'm going to do, the camera is just parented to this empty. The camera actually doesn't have any keyframes at all, which makes our life easier a bit in the future. But I'm going to create an empty here, a sphere. Woo! I'm going to parent everything except for the camera, because the camera's already parented, to that sphere, and that's going to let me kind of massage these dots until we're actually on a flat surface. And I know from the last time I did it that it doesn't, this dot just kind of floats, and I think maybe I should try to split the difference or something like that. But yeah, now we can see where our stairs are and all of that, and that's kind of cool. The more dots you do, the easier this is. This is honestly not a great example of this. Once you get this going, I'm going to set the video to be front, so I can have a solid shaded cube under here. And let's just line this up with the stage. I want to keep my scene at 90-degree angles, so I don't have to model everything crooked. So I'm going to rotate this instead, and kind of go there. And if I copied over, let's see, do I have a null right on the corner, like that one? Let me click it. No. Anyways, I should just have that null there, so that then I could just have a reference point for where this should be, but I don't. Oh yeah, I do. Look at that. Okay, so those are that stair. So I'm gonna go until it basically is just right there, and scale that out, and then let's get to there and bring that up until it intersects these. And then I'm going to bring this out, back of the stage. Yeah, so we're basically just recreating the stage at this point. And then I just want to see if it lines up with the rest of the room. Yeah, this is looking close enough. So that's the start. Just kind of making sure you're a little bit calibrated. And again, additional point clouds really do help. But I'm gonna add this Coke machine real quick. Okay. Cool. It's too deep. It runs into that, and it's still too deep. And then you get to just start, like, sculpting the entire space. Like, she runs out from right here. If I had more point to it, obviously, again, be easier. But I'm just gonna start modeling a train car. And I already showed you the ending. I did this all out of order because I don't know why. I don't know if I was really expecting to do like a full breakdown like this, but I'm really excited about this whole technique, and I want you guys to be able to see it. Alright, so it's about this time that you would go and, put in maybe the alpha version of her, so you're not dealing with all this other additional clutter. In fact, I can just change this to that. Okay, yep. And there we go. Now we just have her, and that'll just make it easier to see, how tall doorways should be and things like that. So, speaking of doorways, let's model a little. Woo! That's I'm holding down shift and it's still just nuts. Well, that's okay. And we start, back here. We can add a ceiling and all that. And so I like blocking it in, and then you texture it, and then you model, and then you texture, and then you model, and it's just a whole fun thing. And she runs into the train car. Train car is just a cube thing. Woo! These faces, and there she runs into the train car. Her opacity, let's turn that up, and then you get to just start. Let's go into rendered view in Eevee, and you don't see anything. Why is that? Oh, it's because she's not actually here in existence. They don't show you the background in Eevee. So, all right. All I was really going to show you then is you get to start matching up, the lighting, which is really cool. Just stick this like in the hallway so that it shines out, and it's hard to see where. Oh gosh, there we go. And the reason I have to crank this up so big is because this whole scene is actually enormous. So I'm going to parent this and the light to this empty too. I'm just going to scale it. Whoa. Parent everything to it. To this control empty. It controls the universe. Scale it down. Okay. And now lights are actually doing what they should be doing. And you can make it to scale. Like I think the average cube is in Blender is 2 meters. Each square is a meter, which is about the height of a human, I think. So yeah, that's an easy way to make it to scale. Just make sure the person's about a cube tall. So we can turn this way down. And so yeah, so she bursts out of the light because we set up a practical light here that's hitting her. And then when she runs in to this room, I set up all these orange lights to hit her. So yeah, you just, yeah, I know where this one is. Cool. So yeah, that's it for right now. I'm gonna. Sorry, this was a little bit all out of order, but when you're done, that should leave you with a fun starting point. And that's honestly that's all the technical stuff. That's the hard part. Everything after that is just having fun modeling a train and doing whatever you want to do with that. So, all right, time for me to go to bed. So I'll talk to you guys later.